lawyers of color at the table talking about how we navigate laws, how we change bills. I mean, this is George Floyd's second year. We don't have a bill on the floor yet that's going to change things, right? We don't have department policies that are in place that are going to change things. You know, we don't have communities coming together going, this going to change on our block. We're going to stand up and change things. We're not lobbying Black Lives Matter for bucks to fight black on black crime, right? We're not going after our leadership to figure out where these guns in the community are actually coming from so we can hold those people accountable. You know what I'm saying? We're charging people with switches, but we're allowing them to ship the switches through the mail to the house, right? Why are we going after the people who's making the switches and who's distributing them? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is an ongoing problem. We really need the community on board, because here's what really happens, honestly. When society decides that something's no longer acceptable, that's when change occurs, right? Mm-hmm. We have to get society to the point where they say that shooting people is not an acceptable practice on a daily basis. That's where we have to get, and we have to keep pushing that in the mindsets of our people until they go, yep, you know what? We are not going to accept it, whether it's my son, my cousin, my brother. We are going to call them out in the open when they do it and hold them accountable.
Absolutely. Brother, I know that I had asked a question before Joe kind of jumped off up in there. But you know, that's the way it happens around here, man. We don't have anything set. It's just all off the fly. But again, you know, just kind of getting back to that question before we kind of go into our halfway mark here, and we have to kind of pay some bills and all that other good stuff.
Yeah,
but again,
questions.
You know, the community. You know, if anyone's out there in the community on any given day, you know, et cetera, it's you. You know, you're talking about the hot spots and the smoldering spots and even the cool spots. But brother, what is it that we can do, you know what I'm saying, to truly bring, you know, unity and peace, you know, within our city? I think you had said it before about, you know, we have lost our neighborhoods and they have turned into hoods.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like Joe was saying, if we don't unify and identify with the problem and who's the problem, the problem have been the same people over and over, long before I got here. Like you said, Beak, you said 30-something years for you, right? For the 18 that I've seen the same problem, the same people, the same families, same problems, over and over again. Everybody in North Minneapolis is not bad. There's some good people in North Minneapolis. Everybody in South Minneapolis are not bad. There's some good people there. All police are not bad, and so there's some good police in the community. There's good community leaders. There's good people, but there's bad people. And so what I say, and I'm going to say it again, is you're going to have to get rid of those bad people in whatever positions they are, whether they're just community people or people just been doing things. You talked about the guns, the gun violence. A lot of time people will fire a gun, then don't hit nobody. They should be accountable for firing that gun. Mm-hmm. There was a time when you was held accountable and you did time for having an illegal gun. Mm-hmm. So now what people are seeing is that they're doing crime, they're doing carjackings, they're doing robberies, they're doing all these type of different things and getting right back out of jail. And they're hearing about other criminals doing the same activity, and they're saying to themselves, wow, I can go do this and get back out of jail. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so they don't see no consequences, no serious consequences for stuff that happened, even with murder here in the state of Minnesota. I've seen people commit a murder, man, and do 5-10 years. You know, they could go play video games for that time, play cards, spades, or whatever for 5 or 10 years and sleep. So, until the court systems and stuff change and these people get held accountable for this, and people could see that if I do this, like I'm just speaking as a criminal, if I go do this, this is what's going to happen to me, and I don't want that kind of time, so I'm not going to do that. With the presence of the police, and I'm going to say this, I don't care what community it is, but since we here in the Twin Cities and talking about the Twin Cities, you have to build. If you don't have it right now, you have to build and have to have police and community relations. There was a time when children were raised up to police their community. You talked about going to 36 and Penn, and you wasn't in uniform. You was in uniform. See, that's the uniform. We are the uniform. We don't have to have on a police uniform, a sheriff uniform. We are the uniform as neighbors. Neighbors show up and say, hey, this is not what's going to go on in the community. Like I said, they show up by the hundreds and shut stuff down. They shut expressways down because they can point the finger at somebody else. I always say it's real easy to point the finger at the other man, but never point it at the brother man. And usually where you live, the brother man is the problem, and the brother man has been the problem all the time. And so now I'm seeing like criminals have rights. They got rights. You got to be this way and be this way to the criminals. You know what I mean? That never has been a time for that. And the police, they don't have no rights. They ain't supposed to do nothing. They want, and I'm going to say this real quickly. They want police to be officer friendly in the hood, where you got murderers, killers, carjackers, drug dealers who will kill anything for turf or another quarter, and you want officer friendly there. And I said officer friendly maybe could be in a friendly neighborhood somewhere, a friendly city somewhere, but in a neighborhood where you dealing with murders, killers, gangbangers, drugs and stuff, you need officers that are trained tactical officers for that hood. I don't care what nobody say. We got to stop doing that, man, and teaching them. Now the kids when they see the police, they're afraid of the police. But they're not afraid of the criminals. They're not afraid of the gang members. They're not afraid that, like, it's been switched around now. I'm seeing this now. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, until we get back to the way things supposed to be, some things that was never broke don't need to be fixed. Folks just want to change things for their own benefit. But kids growing up in the community should be taught as kids to grow up and become police. When I was a kid, the number one thing kids wanted to be was a police. Now they don't want to be a police. Now they're told don't talk to the police, don't look at the police. If you seen talking to the police, if you affiliate with the police, and it's only in the hood though. Because the hood is full of 80% criminals. So I guess you are going to teach the kids and the people in the community, every corner they look at is criminal. There's crime going on. Right. And like Beeks always said, they need to have role models, positive role models in the community. The only time they see it is when they go to school.
Absolutely.
You feel me? So man, I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about the politics and who's gonna be in office. Okay, you can say what you're gonna do, but what are you gonna do? You're talking about the broken promises and people selling people a dream. You know what I mean? There's no way you're going to tell me, and that one thing about me, I don't call names. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. There's no way me, you, Beats, Joe are going to come and tell anybody at a community meeting that we have a plan that's going to stop crime completely, and this going to be the most peaceful state on the planet. Come on, man. Come on now.
Okay.
And we done been here all these years, but somebody's going to come in who just got here from another state and say, I'm going to come in and stop all the crime and everything ain't going to be no crime. So that means that you're going to stop a whole bunch of jobs that crime has provided for them. People have retired off of crime, sent their kids to the best universities off of criminal behavior and criminal activity. People went to college for criminal behavior. So you mean to tell me you're going to come stop all of that? No, man, it's not gonna happen.
No.
It's not gonna happen.
Preach,
Tell the
preach,
truth. Tell the truth.
Preach,
Tell the
preach,
truth. We gotta do the best we can with what we have, but we gotta do something. Me, you, Joe, we some powerful brothers, but I'm never gonna lie and say we're gonna stop everything. We're not. We're here to stop something. We're here to bring some change.
Absolutely.
That's what that's about, man. Stop lying to the people.
And just like you said, you gotta call it out. If you don't call it out, it's going to keep on happening.
Exactly.
We can no longer go along to get along. We can't afford to keep our heads down, and we have to do something today.
Exactly.
You know, the problem of it is people keep thinking that we got till tomorrow. And then tomorrow come, and then that's their child on the ground. Then they want immediate resources to come up and change. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like the way your police department looks, change it. Be a part of the process.
Exactly.
Get involved. If you don't like the way things are happening in your community, get involved.
Exactly.
If you don't like what your kids are doing, be involved. Know what's happening with your kids. I don't want to talk to you once your kid is deceased and you telling me all the good accolades your kid did because you never took the time to really know where he was at night. You don't know who he hanging out with. I asked you, when was the last time you talked to me? You can't tell me that because you don't spend time with the child. And so the problem that we have is they're just kids out in the community.
Right.
They don't have no guidance. They don't have no direction. They don't know where they're going. They're using drugs, and don't nobody seem to care about it.
Right.
Right? And this is an important piece. I'm telling people every day, if you want to get those kids out the streets, you got to give them a positive alternative equal in value to the negative that they're fighting out there against. Because we minimize the amount of kids that are going to school right now and graduating. That's minimized, right? We used to say, oh, that's an issue. People don't want our kids to graduate. Well, they're not worried anymore because our kids ain't making it to adulthood. They're not making it through their teenage years. You know what I'm saying? Our kids are incarcerated, on probation, right? Or dead and in the ground. That's their first three stops. And when the sad part of it is it's so much a reality that the kids will tell you themselves, I don't think about tomorrow because I ain't planning on being here tomorrow. I'm gonna live what I can do my best life right now. And when the kids look at you and tell you I'm living my best life right now, then you say we got to do something, because how can this young man be as young as he is and he living his best life right now?
Well, I will say this here, fellas, because you know where we're at. We're a little bit over that halfway mark. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain things we got to kind of get to. But first, before I kind of say this, and before we kind of go into our little break here, real quick, is that I want to thank all of our listening and viewing audience. There's been so many different comments and questions and things of that nature that has kind of poured in, and obviously, you know, on such a hot topic, it's extremely difficult, you know, to kind of get to those. If we don't get to them right now live on the show, we will definitely get back to you later. That's for sure. But I will say this here before we kind of go into this break, is that, you know, I think a lot of people are seeing the same thing, right? Yeah. I think we're seeing the same thing. We're tired. We're fed up. You know, we want to change. We want something different. You know, granted, depending, you know, on who you're talking to a little bit, they will say, you know, black on black crime is different from, you know, other crime and all this other type of stuff. But, you know, it still impacts our community in a lot of different ways. And I don't even want you to answer, because I see he getting ready to answer this question already. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right there, and we'll kind of follow up on that on the second half here. But again, we kind of got to go to those public service announcements real quick.
Okay. So, again, remember, you know, we start, middle, and end the show with that backpack. So I'm hit you with that backpack one more time. That includes making sure that you have your driver's license and ID with you, and insurance with you before you get in that vehicle. Place it above the visor so it's easily accessible, so it's not confused by law enforcement that you're reaching for a weapon. Remember to stay calm, let the officer go to his spiel, and as always, make it home to your loved ones. Same thing when you're walking down the street. Make sure that you have your driver's license or ID was easily accessible. Stay calm. Allow the officer to go through his spiel. And as always, 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 make it home to your loved ones. Real quickly, I just want to make sure people have a understanding of what that backpack is really born out of. You know, it comes from the fact that I noticed that our young people were having aggression toward police officers whenever they had contact with them. And so, remember, I want people to understand that cops are trained to interpret behaviors first, right? And this is how we determine if you're a threat to us or other people. So I wanted people to have this backpack so they would start teaching their kids to stay calm, be respectful, let the officer talk to you and go through his spiel, because you don't want officers dealing with behaviors first. They don't know you personally. They don't know if you got weapons, and they don't want to deal with you thinking that you may have weapons. So you're going to get an aggressive treatment if you respond aggressively. So that's why I say stay calm. Keep your ID where it's easily accessible, because if the officer asks you for it, you can say, "Officer, I'm going to be reaching for my identification that's in my pocket, and here's where it is." This is important so that the most important part of that interaction that we have with law enforcement is that I want these kids to go home. I do not want people to have a reaction where their kid has been unintentionally killed by law enforcement, and then we're complaining about what could have happened. So we don't want to teach them something negative. We want to teach them to have a positive interaction and to definitely go home after they have contact with law enforcement. And just remember that anything that you feel has been done wrong to you during that contact, we can address it in a safer environment.
Absolutely. Okay? Well, really quick, we had one person kind of chimed in a little earlier. And he or she or they stated that village, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child, that village has vanished. You might even have some folks, you're talking about, Joe, about staying calm and, things of that nature, and how police articulate behavior and so on and so forth. And they don't know them, but, they don't know that officer either. And one thing we do know, you said it before, if there's one officer there, there's already a weapon there.
Correct.
And as you stated earlier, Mr. KG, is that, we do have, some bad officers. We do have some bad folks in the community, right? So, so you might kind of get an argument or a question is that, I can have my backpack, and I can have my windows rolled down, my dome light on, the car turned off, and the keys out the ignition, and I'm doing everything that I need to do in order to not show this officer that I am a threat to them or whatever the case may be, right? But this officer is still kind of coming across rude and disrespectful or aggressive themselves, et cetera, et cetera. And then so we talked about a little bit about the steps that they need to go through in order to get the necessary assistance, if they feel and believe that they are being mistreated. And at that traffic stop or at that encounter is not the time to call yourself to be poking out your chest and so on and so forth. Some folks will say, oh, well, I go down there to internal affairs, they ain't going to do nothing. They going to back their people and all this other type of stuff, right? My point is this here. Right. And this is kind of, for the both of you. Right. I think from what I'm hearing, not only here at this table today, but conversations that we have had amongst the three of us and also with those in the community, that we are saying the same thing, that we want change. We want something different. We want something better. We want something that's a lot more intangible to our life. And making things safe, so then therefore those people can kind of go down and walk to the store, and they don't have to be concerned, after 6 o'clock or whatever the case may be, that they got to go hungry for the rest of the night or whatever the case may be, right? Someone else had stated too, I think it was Brother KG, it's easier for individuals to kind of point the finger, and blame somebody else and so on and so forth, instead of taking accountability and responsibility and so on and so forth. We have talked about entities and individuals gaining money, talking about that their boots on the ground, so on and so forth, but yet we're still having the same outcome, right? We can talk about the governor talking about, 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever it was, about how the state patrol in Hennepin County, was not prepared or equipped to deal with inner city, policing and things of that nature. Now all of a sudden money comes out and so on and so forth. Things are signed, and this is how we're all of a sudden gotten mutual aid. Which they should have been, doing this stuff for free. This type of stuff needs to be ongoing. I mean, I can go on and on and on down this list. I guess my point that I'm trying to make here is that we know the problem. We know the issues and concerns, right? But talking about it is one thing. You know what I'm saying? How do we get these entities and these individuals at the table to be able to accept the accountability and responsibility, have a plan, be able to put that plan in place, and be able to kind of follow up and follow through with that plan in order for us to be able to have the things that we need to have within our community, so then therefore we're not being accosted and all this other type of stuff. That we're giving our youth a fighting opportunity so that they're not, in jail, dead, or whatever else.
See, we can do that by electing me as sheriff, because that's how I'm implementing my plan. One, I'm going to change the mindsets of those officers in those squad cars. We have to respond to people in a time of need when things are going bad and when they're not going bad. So we got to have proactive police from the community. Hire people from the community. Let's not demand that people live in the community, but let's give them incentives to want to live in the community while working here, right? When you have people that know the people and care about the people or are involved with the people, you have a group of people already working together. Why? Because my cousin's on the police department. My aunt's on the police department. That's my sister that rolled up. Those are my nephews out there in the street. That's what makes a difference, right? Bringing community on board together is the key. Secondly, let's educate and empower the community. Let's have those police academies, citizen academies, where we're educating people on what their rights are, what the police do and why the police do what they do. Talk to them about how you can fix tickets and things of that nature. And most importantly, make sure our cops understand that this is discretional authority. We don't have to arrest everybody, right? You have the ability to come in contact with people unless there's a body on the ground or a court order. You have the opportunity to make this a teachable moment or an arrestable moment, right? Because we understand that when we arrest people and put them into the system at a young age, we put them at a disadvantage. They can't get housing, they can't get employment, they can't get education. And this is what causes recidivism, right? So we need to start working together, building those plans, talking about how we're going to go about it and actually doing it. That's what I intend to do. I'm just a regular Joe from the community. I just happen to have a law enforcement background. I'm here because I care about the people. I know we can make a difference together. I've seen it happen in my lifetime. I've lived long enough to see us make things better. The unique part of it is I started law enforcement when we didn't have cameras, right? Mm-hmm. We had integrity, right? There wasn't nobody to witness what you did. You had integrity. I treated you the right way because it was the right thing to do, right? That's what's important, that we do what's right because it's the right thing to do. You all right?
So let me ask you this here, Brother KG.
He just said something. And can I just please?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just said the right thing to do, right? See, and when you just said that, we get so caught up and blinded to black and white, and we can't see right. So it's not about black and white, because black and white can come together and make things right. So it's not about that. It's about the right thing to do, not a black and white thing to do. It's a right thing to do. What is the right thing to do as a community? It doesn't matter what color or race or none of that it is. Together as a community, go ahead, Beach.
No.
Because he said it. I mean, when he said it, that's exactly what I was thinking. The right thing. We're so into fighting about black and white. Black and white. Everything is about race. Instead of the right thing. What's the right thing?
That's what made Martin Luther King so popular in the march, because what he did was unite people under morality. So when we all saw it, it was wrong in all our eyes, right? It didn't matter what your color was. You looked at it and you knew that's wrong. Don't treat that man like
Exactly.
that. Don't do that lady like that. And that's what we have to push. We got to keep pushing that because, listen, this education piece of empowering the people don't really understand. They hear me say it all the time. Knowledge is for sure power, right? Can you imagine not having a driver's license, but you still got to feed your family? You're going to take that chance. You're going to get in that car because you know you got to take care of your family. Right? If I sat out there every day and pulled you over because I'd already stopped you and knew you didn't have license, I could give you a ticket every day. But being a good person, I could simply tell you where you could go to get this fixed and still gain compliance with the law. Right?
Absolutely.
That's what this is about. I could take you to jail for the DWI and use 3 hours of the taxpayers' time to do so, or I could have just drove you home before you got in the car. Right? These are the common sense things that we want our police officers to do. We can't stop crime everywhere, but we can do a damn good job to prevent it as best we can.
Yeah,
so that when it does happen, it sticks out. Right? And to your point, for that guy who's in the car and the officer's just being a bad guy no matter what he does, keep being a good guy because it stands out that much more that he's a bad guy. And when we go and say, hey, this guy was a bad guy, it's blatantly obvious. You sitting there, he's telling you what to do, and the officer's out of control. Those we can deal with because the goal is to get you home alive. That's the goal.
Absolutely. So
You was finna say something.
I was going to ask you a question, bro, and that's fine because that's just how this goes, you know. But with you being out in the community as much as you are, do you know of any place, you know what I'm saying, to where we would be able to put together, you know, some type of information forum or some type of seminar, you know, that Joe and I, you know, and maybe, you know, including yourself and maybe even some others, you know, that we could reach out to and be able to have, you know, an information or some type of training session, go through scenarios, you know, so then therefore individuals would be able to have some inside information, you know, and primarily, you know, for our youth, you know, because again, a lot of the things that we speak, they're not being heard by those that need to hear it. You know, because we kind of run in a pack, if you will, those that are kind of our age or kind of the similar mindset and things of that nature. But a lot of these individuals that needs to hear messages such like this here, they're not hearing it. So therefore, in some cases, we have to kind of meet them where they're at. And so then therefore, if there's any places that you are aware of that we might be able to kind of go to and be able to provide that educational resource, you know, please let us know. And it doesn't have to just be Brother KG. Anyone out there, you know, that has any type of issue or concern or just has a platform and you want to have some insight, information, or knowledge about how, you know, we plan to kind of make this happen as Joe is seeking candidacy, you know, for Hennepin County Sheriff. You know, what we're talking about, this is all part of his plan. But as you can see, we continue to talk about who? You, the people. And you, the people, is whom he's going to be reporting to. And this is why it's important for you to kind of get involved. I just want to kind of quickly kind of take this person's response up here. I know we're kind of getting down to the end, you know, but we really haven't gotten to any of our guests. And again, I apologize for that, but we will definitely respond to you later after the show. But what does this say? Our political leaders have been gaslighting. And that's a little bit low, a little bit. Hey, can you guys enlarge that a little bit?
I can read it.
Can you read that?
Our political leaders have been gaslighting race for the sake of division. Exactly what I was talking about. To the detriment of the people they say they care about. In November, we need to get them out. Riot at the polls with your vote, not in the streets.
That's from Cicely Davis, Cece, who's running against Ilhan Omar.
That makes sense.
Well,
But
you know,
like she said, I just said that part about, they dividing us with race. It's always that to divide us.
And I will say this here, Miss Davis, again, please feel free to give us a call or, contact us because we would love to kind of have you down, on the show or, whatever the case may be, right? But I know, again, that we are kind of getting down, to that end, Brother KG.
You asked the question, too, that we didn't get to answer, which would be quickly social media. That's one gift and platform that we have, but we need the people. We need y'all to share. If we posted up, if we just now got mad at each other and started fighting, do you know it would go viral? It would get millions of views. It would be shared worldwide. But we're talking about change in the community, coming together, unifying. You know what I'm saying?
Saving
Putting
lives.
people in office that are going to actually do something and bring forth change. And we got to ask people to please share it. You see what I'm saying? So social media is a great platform for us. And that, like you said, the answer to your question is that's what we need, people to share this information, man. And this unification. This is unifying right here. Three brothers in the community, unifying, sharing their courage, strength, and hope, and their ideals, man, and their hope, and what we think would be changed because we've been here and we've seen this for so long. It ain't like we just got here and coming in talking about, this is what we need to do. We've been here. We've seen the pain. Our families have been hurt. We're dealing with tragedies. The last thing I want to see is another grandmother lose her life.
Absolutely.
Another person, granddaughter, lose their life through tragedy. So we're trying to prevent things from happening. And so as long as these people that's doing this are still out here, you're going to have a problem. It can happen.
Well, I will say this here is I think that social media is one way of kind of getting that out. I think that all three of us here at this table anyway, does a darn good job at getting information out pertaining to saving lives and educating individuals, et cetera, et cetera. I guess I'm more kind of from the old school, as far as I want to kind of be in your face. Type deal.
Right.
Sit down in a group in order to kind of have that dialogue, get that feedback, et cetera, et cetera.
The first thing I'm going to say is this. I hear about these safety meetings, a lot of them. I would love to attend them because, usually I'm hearing about them after the fact. Now, if we really going to make change, let's include everybody at the table. I want to be at those tables. I want to help organize these plans. What I'm asking people is simply this. Help me to save your family members, okay? I'm tired of going to funerals. Our funerals right now is one of the highest paid jobs in America right now is morticians, right? But I'm tired of going to funerals. The next thing is I'm tired of seeing people on T-shirts. I'm tired of seeing memorials. I'm tired of death being so common that nobody's upset. In fact, it's so common that when somebody's in a situation where they've been mortally wounded, people pulling out cameras and videotaping it and not even trying to save their lives. Those moments that you spend videotaping, you could have been doing respiration, CPR, and possibly save somebody's life. That's how desensitized we become to the violence in our community. And so when I'm saying I need to see change, I want that change from the people. I'm not here because it's a political aspiration. Hey, the job is politics. I get that. That's why I'm here. I'm playing the game of politics. But I'm here because there's an outcry for the people, right? There's something wrong when people don't see people dying and have a problem with that. We have to fix that. This is not an argument. This is people dying. These are our community members dying, our family members dying. And there are no boundaries. We're shooting up funerals. You know what I'm saying? We're shooting up reception halls, schools, churches. There is no boundary there. I'm talking to teachers and principals who are telling me that they know their kids are coming through a war zone on the way to school, that they're losing loved ones and being sent to school the next day to still deal with the grief of that one loved one who just died the day or hours before. So we have to jump into this and get on board. We can't keep discussing it. I'm asking people to get a hold of me. I may not be sitting in the sheriff's office right now, but there's still something we can do today. I'm calling on our leadership to stop playing these games, man. Get in the room and make some real changes. You got the power, because guess what? You already got the numbers, you got the demographics, you got the finances. Make these changes that need to be changed. And for the people, if you see it happening every day and you know there ain't no change, then get involved, go to those polls, make those changes, let your voice be heard, talk to your senators, your leadership, and find out how can you bring those changes about, because that's the only way for things to happen, right? Stop having people in office and complaining about it. Go get involved. And that don't mean you can't become a politician and get involved too, but we need people to come out and fight for what's right among the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will say this here is that this was a very intriguing, even an exciting, hot topic. And between future Sheriff Joe Banks to my left and Brother KG over here to my right, these two play drums and bongo on this table all day. That we're gonna have to check the legs on this dang thing and see if it's still working.
Yeah.
But again, that is exactly when you're kind of into what's going on and it impacts you the way that it is. It's like slamming that dang domino when you win, baby. But again, man, we are down, to the end, of another fabulous, Let's Talk About It Wednesday. And before we roll out of here, Brother KG, would you please do us the honor and leave us, the listening audience, the viewing audience, you're talking about, social media. This is going to be seen by a lot of individuals, if you will, on this form of social media: Facebook, YouTube, Roku, MCN6, et cetera, et cetera. And we're hoping that, as you said before, people will share. We're hoping that people will then share this. But could you please do us the honor and leave us with some insightful, some helpful, some educational knowledge that individuals would be able to carry not only for today, not only for tomorrow, but beyond, as they are possibly making that decision if they can walk to the store, and feed their family that night. You know what I'm saying? If they're trying to bring in groceries, but someone seems to want to try to take their car and their babies is in the car.
We as a community, man, we are the men, our men. We are the protectors. We are the first protectors that has always been of our women and our children and our seniors. We have to take that role back. We have to have that role in our community. So many times I've come to a community, another part of town where I had to go and knock on the door and see if any men were there to come out in the community, come outside. A lot of our seniors, they have paid the way. They raised the children to become adults, and they retired. And so they should be able to live in peace in their community. They shouldn't have to sell their home and move out. I always say, you should move out. You move the people that are the problem out. Don't let the people that are the problem move you out. We got to continue to, like you said, educate our people. It's about educate and die. I remember the president of Black Star Project in Chicago, Philip Jackson, said, educate or die. That is the truth, man. If we don't educate and we don't show our youth how to become the future leaders, what we're doing right now is it can't be about making a paycheck. You know what I mean? Buying a nice house. It's got to be about providing and making a change for the community, for the future, for the children to be able to see how to continue it. So we have to do this now. Like you said, Joe, if we don't do this and we're just ignored and be quiet and don't say nothing, then the children have no guidance. They have no leadership. They have nobody to stand in the gap and say what's wrong or what's right. They just ignore it and allow them to keep doing it. So then they end up condemned. And now we don't have no future. So the children are supposed to be our future, but if we're burying and killing and the children are dying, how is that a future? If all they see is drug dealers, gangbangers, this filthy, horrible music that they're playing, the stuff that they're seeing on TV is all mess, then what do you think they're gonna get? The elder said, "What you put in is what come out." So if they put in mess all day, that's what's going to come out, mess. And that's what we're seeing. We allowed our community become a mess, from a small mess to a huge mess. And now we're at tables like we are now. Now we're on shows like we are now. And even though there was some of us who was trying to warn about what was to come, now they're seeing what's to come, and now they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. We got to take it back to the old landmark. The elders knew what to do, and things got done. And we got to continue to do that way. That way worked. That way worked, and it can still work today, but we got to stand in the gap. Men have to be men. When men stand up, boys sit down. You understand me? And so we got to continue to do that, man. And we got to allow the people in the community to know that this is their community. And then whatever's torn down, we got to allow them to build it up, to build it back up.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for that, man.
You're welcome, Beach.
Man, another fabulous, Let's Talk About It Wednesday, man. Again, thank you to our viewing and listening audience. Again, this is a grassroots campaign for Joseph Banks as he is seeking candidacy for Hennepin County Sheriff. Again, he cannot do this without you.
Nope.
That's just the bottom line. We have to bridge that gap, and he has the plan to do that. Right? I told you before, I would not be riding with him if I did not believe in what it is that he is doing. We know that there's a lot of fabulous people out there in some very integral parts of our society, our system. We want to have you come down, be on the show. We want to be at that table with you. And even though, again, Joe said it earlier, he is not in that seat yet, but we can still make a difference and make change today. We don't have to wait until November, or January, for that to happen. Right? If that boat is sinking right now, we need to fix it right now.
Yes,
if we wait for October, November, December, January in order to fix that boat, everyone in that boat is going to be drowning, right? And we have the plan. We can do that. Again, my name's Antoine Beeks. I am a firearms instructor. I do a lot of education for those who wants to be responsible gun owners. Please feel free to reach out to me at 612-702-9849. Again, 612-702-9849. We offer several different types of classes, all the way from those beginners to those just kind of getting recertified. I also have a security company, WSC Protective Agency. Please visit us at westportsecurity.net. You can email me at abeeks@westport.mn.com, or you can also call me at 612-978-6066. Again, 612-978-6066. And I can provide you with information pertaining to the safety and security, for whatever establishment that you have. I have a blueprint, that pretty much can be adapted to almost any situation out there. I've been doing this for a long time. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And if I don't necessarily have all of the answers, which I don't believe I do, however, that's why I have individuals like, Joe to my left, KG to my right, and other individuals, out there that are willing to kind of come in and help support exactly what it is that needs to be done to bring safety and security, to the community. Brother Joe. Brother Joe.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking us out. We're here every week from 4 to 5. This show allows me to be able to communicate with you, the citizen, and you to be able to communicate with me, the possible candidate. More importantly, I want to say this. Everybody out there has either been affected by violence or knows somebody who has been affected by violence. I want to send a shout out to the people who are at home who feel like there's no end to the violence that they're surrounded in. Help is on the way, right? I want to tell, make sure we bring an awareness to the fact that there's still depression out there, right? There's still people out here struggling with addiction that need you to pray for them, to support them, to get them to where they need to be so they're in their right mind. Don't want to forget about them at all because the struggle is real every day. You know, I want us to still remember our neighbors every day. Check on our neighbors. Get to know your neighbor. Stop living in these neighborhoods where you don't know your neighbor.
Exactly.
Okay? Check on your neighbor. That's how simple it is. I want you to know that your voice counts. Change is around the corner. As long as we stick together and work together, we will overcome what we're going through. This has been a great show, KG. It's always a pleasure having you on
Can
here.
I say something to
you will be
Yeah.
back.
Can I say something to you? Joe, thank you for so much for being who you are, brother. You are a leader in the community. You're inspiring. You're encouraging, and those that are paying attention to your run. Hey, man, if you are the man for the job, you will be the man for the job. But you are the man for the job regardless, and you are inspiring others that come along the way to know that they too can do exactly what you're doing, what you're trying to do, who you're trying to become. And so that right there, I need to let you know. Whatever happens, that you are a winner, man. You're a winner, and you're inspiring others to become winners. So that's what we do. We lead by example and let people know, others know that if I can, you can.
Okay, I
Thank
appreciate
you,
that,
brother.
brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And he's true with that. You know, we are definitely going to get things done in the community together. You know, I just want to make people understand that this is us as a people, man. We gonna make this happen. This campaign stuff is part of it, but I'm here for the people. I'm always going to be here for the people. These gentlemen are always going to be here for the people, and we got your best interests at heart. It's been a great show. Again,
Yes.
banksforsheriff.com, BANKS, the number 4, sheriff.com. You can reach me at joelawman@hotmail.com. That's JOELAWMAN@hotmail.com. Or call me at 763-221-4724. And last but not least, before we get out of here, as Beak said, we got, this is a grassroots campaign. So please, when you see my donations, donate, because your bucks is how we keep our campaign going. I am an independent. I'm not Republican nor Democrat, so we count on your bucks to keep the campaign rolling. So, last but not least, we're going to hit you with that
backpack.
As you know, every week we start, middle, and end the show with the backpack, and that consists of making sure that you got your driver's license and insurance with you before you get in that car. Place them above the visor. Make sure that they easily seen so that they won't be mistaken by law enforcement for a weapon. Stay calm. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Let them go through a spill. And as always, make it home to your loved ones.
Gotta make it home.
Same thing when you're walking down the street. Make sure you got your ID or driver's license where it's easily accessible. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Stay calm. Allow the officer to go through his spill. And as always, make it home to your loved ones. Thank everybody for their comments today. It's been a wonderful show. As always, we'll be back here next week on Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
With another fabulous guest.
Yes, sir. So with that being said, I'm Joe Banks.
And I'm Antoine Beeks.
And we just talked about it.
Peace.